Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, May the 17th, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Howdy. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing...
Hi, everyone.
We got Telephone Pete with us tonight. was that
I'm on
a
the
bridge
eastern end of Long Island.
Was that a bridge you went over just then, or?
Do you have radio signals coming out of your ass?
I think he does. He's like breaker, breaker.
I miss CB.
You're like Smokey and the Bandit over there.
Exactly. How's she looking over your donkey?
I miss the days of the CB. Those were fun.
They were fun.
I never had one.
Yeah, my when I was in grade school, my family owned a motorhome with another family.
There you go.
Nice Winnebago. And my dad was very into the CB culture and all that. So we had, of course, the CB in the motorhome. And the funny part was that one of our cars was a Toyota Corolla.
There you go.
And we're talking like a 74, 75 Toyota Corolla, somewhere around there, I think.
Nice.
Which was just a tiny little, but it had a CB.
Had a CB.
Which, was... But yeah, we were into the culture, and we all had our handles, and we all knew the lingo and all that stuff. It was fun.
Yeah. My father did the same thing. He had it in his van, and he put one in my mom's car, and he had one in his Thuman's truck, and yeah. So it was anywhere we went. It was get on the highway, checking for Smokies, and
watch for Smokies, or I was whatever when you're a little kid, well, you can ask what time it is.
Right, yeah.
Which I think was 10:36 or whatever.
10:36, exactly. 10:36.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So you get, this is Pee-wee. Can I go to 10:36? And some trucker would be like, it's 11:40. Go to bed, kid. But that was huge, man. And then you had the song CB McCall.
Oh yeah. Convoy,
and then you had the movie and all that stuff. So,
Ali McGraw and
Ali McGraw and Chris Christopherson
and
Franklin and Shia. Yeah, that was big stuff. That was big stuff.
BJ and the Bear.
BJ and
that's BJ and the Bear, right? And then of course you had Smokey and the Bandit.
Of course.
After that, but yeah, the whole culture. There were books with all the codes and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I adopted as my handle from Smoking the Bandit. I was a snowman. So
nice.
Snowman. That's later on. That might have been a little dangerous.
So later on, it was dangerous. Yeah, but as a snowman. Because I skied, right? So I figured, hey, that's a good name. Boom. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah.
It's 2 a.m. Snowman. Are you awake, Snowman? It's 2 a.m. We're still partying over here, Snowman. Breaker.
Yeah, well.
We need a carrot for our nose.
Exactly.
Yeah, come on over, Snowman.
Come on over, Snowman. We need your help over here, Snowman.
Yeah, I think I got somebody named Snowman in my phone. It's actually snow removal, but still.
Yeah. It's another song from The Cult.
All right. Well, here we are. 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in, and we've been talking about CD radios. So.
Exactly. Why not? Well, I think we need to kick it off. That's why the background is what it is. I think we need to kick it off with the NBA. I mean,
finally,
Eastern and Western Conference Finals.
I mean, what does it take to get us started with basketball and an exciting
season. It starts with it. What it takes is it takes getting the Eastern and Western Conference Finals underway. That's what it takes.
Yes, it does. It does, so, and the West is underway. And the
also, who really wants to talk about the Yankees or the Mets right now?
No, I certainly don't.
Or at least, I don't really want to talk about the Mets. They suck. So let's talk about basketball.
Yes.
Yeah, this is.
Well,
look at my headline under my name.
Yeah, my time machine works. I don't understand what that means, but okay.
It's in 1992. The Mets had the highest payroll. They had one of the highest paid players. They had a former Yankee coach as manager, and they sucked.
Oh, you were sucking Buck Showalter's cock for fucking months before.
I'm not blaming Buck Showalter. I don't know what the fuck these batters are doing. They're not hitting the ball, and our 90-year-old pitching staff can't get anybody out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing history. We are witnessing, and finally, the rest of the world gets to watch this. Finally, idiots like Skip Bayless and Kendrick Perkins, and even reluctantly the arrogant Stephen A. Smith, are finally watching with their own eyes the genius that is Nikola Jokic. And they're finally giving him his due reluctantly. The guy is averaging a 30-plus point triple-double in the Western in the NBA playoffs so far.
Yes,
it has been amazing. I don't want to jinx him, but the Nuggets. I thought the Nuggets were going to have a much harder time with the Suns, and I also thought that they might have a letdown in Game 1 against the Lakers, and they almost did. But they didn't.
I got to call you. I got to hold you off for 1 second, Pete. Was that another car passing you, or was that your stomach because you're hungry?
Oh, it's the GPS telling me where to go.
I know. I just heard. I hear grumbling.
It sounds like a jet.
Oh yeah, no,
it sounds like a jet. It'll do wonders on the audio.
Of course.
Who knows? It could be some idiot in their hot rod.
We should just tell people you're in a jet. You're a jet test pilot, and I'm off right now.
In a big old jet airliner right now, and
I'm testing out the latest in personal transportation, the HoverPod.
There you go.
That's right.
It's sort of like a hovercraft and a little bit like a helicopter,
and
the
hovercopter.
The hovercopter.
Yeah. The hovercopter. There you go.
So I think I'm almost there. I don't know. I got the Maps app open, but it's minimized, so I can only see like 100 yards ahead of me on the map.
I think you'll be fine.
I think you'll be fine. Well, Harry, to your point, I got to tell you, I'm thinking, and you might not want me to say this to put a damper on things and possibly screw
don't
things
jinx
up,
it.
but,
Don't send any of your Mets jinx this way.
All right. Well, look, the link. Oh my God! What the hell was that?
This is not going well.
This is not going well because all I hear is the road. So
that's the GPS.
We literally sound like you're holding your phone outside the window of the car.
It's all right. It's first-hand experience.
There you go. All right. So look, I'll say it like this. I won't talk about the Nuggets at all. What I'll say is this: the Lakers. While I'm obviously, LeBron's there, and whatever else you want to say about them. That's what we're talking about. That sound, whatever that was, just then.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything.
Your phone speakers, it's so compressed that it's picking up all the road noise.
Oh, you know what it is? I'm using the. It's hooked up to a Bluetooth, which is plugged into the audio system.
There you go. Yeah, because all we're hearing is like a plane taking off every 30 seconds.
Really?
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me try. Hang on.
All right.
While Pete's doing that,
Well, Pete's doing that. Yeah. What I was going to say is,
Nice.
the Lakers are playing, above their. I think personally above where they should be playing. And
Lakers are a good team. They have, they're a good team. They have 2 of the top 10 players in
Sure.
basketball on their team.
Sure.
Much like Phoenix did.
Well, we'll see what happens. I won't jinx anything. I'll let you talk to it. So
I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to, and I don't like one of these guys, but I'm going to be honest. I think we're watching the 2 best centers in the NBA go at it right now. And you can say all you want. I'm not going to discredit Joel Embiid and his MVP and all that, but he's not better than Anthony Davis and Jokic right now. He's not. These guys put on a show last night that I have not seen from big men since Patrick Ewing and Hakeem Olajuwon. There just has not been this level of play from 2 centers. Very different styles of play, but they're both right now playing the best basketballs of their career, I think. And look, say what you will about Anthony Davis, he's playing lights out. Yeah. And this could be a long series. The Lakers are a good team. I think the Nuggets are a little deeper. I think the Nuggets have to play really perfect ball. I mean, if you look at the stat line for the Nuggets last night, nobody had a bad game shooting. The Nuggets shot. They took a lot of high percentage shots. They got into the lane. They came out to a strong start, and still the Lakers were within 1 shot of tying it in the 4th quarter. So This is far from over. I think the Lakers are actually playing the best ball of their season right now. And when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis playing at the top of his game, it could go either way. So what I like about this, though, is that people are finally starting to take notice. And you can't expect, run-of-the-mill basketball fans who don't tune in every day to know what this team is about if they can't even get the respect of professional analysts. All of a sudden, they're all talking because you have to. Because what he is doing,
choice. What else are they going to talk about?
But but they can't ignore it anymore.
Right.
Because the numbers he is putting up and the impact he is having on the game is indisputable. It's indisputable. So I like that. I think it's about time that he gets his due. And look, MVPs don't tend not to win the NBA championship. The last few have not won it. Former MVPs have, and I hope that's the case this year. I'm not looking past the Lakers by any means. And I think the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be a 6 or 7 game series too, because maybe the surprise of the NBA season, I would say it would be the Lakers if it wasn't for the Miami Heat, who, granted, I think they were a better team than the Knicks. But to get to the Knicks and to get to that point, they had to go through some really tough competition. They were in the play-in tournament, as were the Lakers. So this is compelling. This is compelling basketball. And I'm not sure the last time we've seen teams that were that were part of the play-in tournament make it this deep into the playoffs. And while I think Boston is a heavy favorite, I wouldn't be surprised if the Heat won that series. Would you?
I would not be surprised if the Heat won the series. I think they are going to win the series, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, there you go. I think Boston, I think those last 2 games and those wins over Philly, to me, prove that Boston's deep enough and understands how to play on both ends of the court well enough that they kind of create problems when they want to for almost any team.
Right.
We'll see. I mean, Al Horford looked like Bill Russell in 1958 against, Joel Embiid. I don't know if that's the case if he's playing Anthony Davis or Jokic. I just don't know. But I will tell you this. There's something wrong with the Sixers. And I'm not sure it's everybody else but Joel Embiid. When the first thing you do is sit down after a collapse and not take any accountability as a reigning MVP and say that you can't do it alone. That's not a championship caliber player. Not yet. So maybe there needs to be more attitude adjustment as opposed to X's and O's in Philly. And, you know, was I surprised that they let Doc Rivers go? No.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I'm not sure it's on Doc Rivers.
I don't think it is. I mean, well, I can't even say most of the time. Often it's not, but obviously it's easier to get rid of a coach than it is to get rid of a player, obviously, right? So, change something, right? Whether it's not him, but maybe bring somebody else in, But
I mean, you have three of the last 5 coaches of the years who were fired because they were unable to do things. They were unable to win in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, let's talk about the coaching changes for a second. I mean, Nick Nurse, Mike Bolthomer, or whatever the hell his name is, Doc Rivers, all gone.
Yep.
And, 2 of them won a championship not that long ago. So I think in Milwaukee, it surprised me a lot. In Phoenix, obviously, I forgot to mention, that coaching change, but that doesn't really surprise me that much. But you're talking 3 of those guys have won Coach of the Years. 2 of them have won NBA championships within the last 5-6 years.
Right.
I don't understand who they think is going to come in. They think Mike D'Antoni is going to change the culture of the 76ers, or
I mean, he might, but not the way they want. So,
well, and James Harden has proven to be James Harden again. Last time we were on this, I was touting James Harden as having a bounce back playoffs, and he was until he became James Harden of old.
Until he became James Harden, right?
Or the old James Harden. And now he wants to opt out of his contract, and he's looking for a max 4-year deal. I mean, is he that tight with Morey that he's going to get that? I mean, I just don't know what else to say. I mean, I think Tyrese Maxey. Look, I watched a regular season game towards the end of the year where Tyrese Maxey came in and torched the Denver Nuggets in Denver. Okay, so it's not like they Tobias Harris is a good player. It's not like they're lacking talent beyond Embiid and Harden. It's just that those 2 guys are not on the same page half the time, and they are the ones who set the culture of the team. They're the ones who create the chemistry of what's going on the court and off the court. I just, we just kept peeling off layers. It's Jimmy. I thought Jimmy Butler was nuts when he left the Sixers. Now I know why he did.
Right. Now you know.
Now you know. So we'll see. Who do you bring in there? What is this? We're going to re-sign Harden to a max 4-year contract and bring in a coach that he wants?
That would be stupid. I personally think that would be stupid. Send him walking.
It sounds like Harden's got more say than Embiid. Embiid didn't want Doc Rivers gone.
And that's a shame.
Look, Doc's not perfect, but Doc Rivers has won an NBA championship. And yes, he's lost a lot of Game 7s. But you know who's been in the most Game 7s in the history of the NBA as a coach? Doc Rivers. So, do you run with somebody who gets you there? I think so.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see where this sort of carousel lands. But it's a head scratcher for me for a lot of these teams. Phoenix, maybe not so much. But there's excuses there too. And is it really the coach's fault? I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, maybe they'll realize what they did once they get into next year, especially if they give Harden a max contract. And I think that would be the most stupid thing they could possibly do.
Well, who is going to give Harden a max contract? 4-year. Who's going to do it? Other than
some
Philly?
Some team will, though. Some desperate team.
Who? I don't think they will. I think that ship has sailed.
Pete's not happy tonight.
What's that?
Pete's not happy tonight. He's on, he's off, he's up, he's down.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work.
All
right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who the team is. I mean, you know what? I mean, if he does have the ear of ownership, maybe he gets that max contract in Philly. I think it's stupid. I think they need to. I think they need to bolster up with some younger players to support. You know, the core that's been there, and not James Harden. But
yeah,
hey, you know, I mean that's
Well,
a Knicks fan.
Are you guys talking about? Are you talking about Doc Rivers?
Yeah.
yeah.
And James Harden would have wanted to mix.
We're talking about all of the coaching changes and how some of them, the firings have been pretty shocking a little bit, you know, especially in Milwaukee and Philly and Toronto. And I'll be honest, even in Phoenix, you know, who are you going to get? Who are you going to get? Unless you're just going to swap them, you know?
Doc Rivers
Well, look, this is part of the players ruling the league, right? It's not the players' fault anymore, even though it's the players' fault because they have to go out and perform, and when they don't, and when the league MVP and the guy and James Harden, who basically won those couple games for Philly by putting up 40 plus, don't perform, the coach gets the blame. Now, you talk about Monty Williams and Nick Nurse, who won with Toronto a few years ago, or whatever. That's the way it goes. And I have to say though, in the case of Doc Rivers, this firing, I don't know. How do you? I think it's more justified than maybe any of the others because there's a track record here with Doc Rivers of blowing 3-1 leads in playoff series, and he just hasn't had a lot of success in the playoffs. And again, the players have to perform. But if you say, well, it's not the coach's fault because the players didn't perform, well, then it's never really the coach's fault.
Right.
You know,
but in Doc Rivers' defense, how many championships does Monty Williams have? You know, how many championships do after Wilt Chamberlain did any other Philadelphia coach have? I mean, Doc's won a championship, and he's gotten them just as close as everybody else except for Billy Cunningham 1 year with Dr. J, Moses Malone, and a stacked roster who could never win it. So I get it. But is Nick Nurse gonna come in and that's the next question. Lead the Sixers to a championship and fix the James Harden problem? Yeah. No, the Sixers are gonna go out. The Sixers are gonna go out and get Mike D'Antoni. I'm telling you, this is what.
But I think his name's already been.
That's who James Harden
already been mentioned, I think, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, reports or whatever it is. But the point is well made. If you go, look, Doc just can't get it done in the crunch time, and we're going to find somebody else. Well, who's that somebody else?
Right. That isn't already.
Who exactly is it?
Yeah. Greg Popovich is finally has the number one draft pick again. He's not leaving San Antonio to go to Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer is. And maybe we're just thinking wrong. Maybe the coach doesn't matter. Maybe ownership is now convinced that the only thing the coach is there to do is to give the players what they want so that they actually show up and perform. I don't know.
On that note of the draft picks you said before, Knicks aren't getting a first round this year because Dallas is protected.
Right.
Yeah. But they came close. The league figures they came close enough. They don't need a first round.
You know, briefly on the Knicks, I was wrong in the beginning of the season, and when they made the draft, Jalen Brunson, quite honestly, is maybe the biggest steal of a signing in the NBA in the last 20 years. Everybody else on that Knicks team, and let's talk about draft picks and the horrible decisions that the Knicks have made over the past 15 years. No one else on that Knicks team. I don't care if they stay or not. You're not going to win with any of them.
Right.
RJ Barrett's a bust. He's a bust. Julius Randle.
And he was the third pick. He's a bust.
He's a bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a nice, decent player, but
he'll be a sixth man of the year for somebody in 4 years. Mark my words. Julius Randle, I think the guy's a great regular season player, but he just disappears and doesn't seem to care at all about anything during the playoffs. Obi Toppin.
Mm-hmm.
Obi Toppin.
Yep.
I mean, let's not forget about Kevin Knox. The Knicks are not going to win through the draft. We've learned this.
Toppin has improved.
But he's not a first-round draft pick, Pete. He's not even
starting. Right. That's it.
He's horrible.
Right. When they drafted me, I went, who the hell is this guy? He was like the modern version of who was the he was a Chinese guy, Wang Zhuzhe.
Yeah, well, he's more like Ken. I think they were hoping he'd be more like Kenyon Martin. But
right. But I mean, he's just this guy that they drafted him and he went.
He doesn't have Kenyon Martin's shooting touch.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look, Mitchell Robinson would be a great player in 1994 as a backup center. You know, they just and I mean they got to move on. Emmanuel quickly. Okay, there you go. But he got hurt and was out and wasn't available.
Right.
So. The Knicks have a lot of work to do. They're good. I think Tom Thibodeau did more with this roster than he's given credit for. And they were not as good a team and they're not as well coached. And what I mean by that is that, Miami, Jimmy Butler makes sure that everybody on that team buys into their system, which is we are going to play really hard. And where we may be lacking a little bit in talent, we are going to make up for an effort. And I think some of the Knicks were close to that. But the Knicks need shooters. They need shooters. They need defenders. They need wing players. And I just don't think you could go another, you're not going to win a championship with this roster. You can't say, hey, we got Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett. Not good enough. Not good enough.
Well, if they wind up getting Luka Doncic next year, then we'll see what they can get.
But that would be Doncic would be an absolute horrible fit for the Knicks, especially if Tom Thibodeau is coach. I mean, and I'm not sure Doncic, unless he joins the Lakers or the Suns, is going to win a championship. Because what we've learned, I hope people watching the NBA, is that come playoff time, defense matters.
Yep.
And look, the Knicks at times in that Miami series, the Knicks just looked like a team that had not played together all year.
They definitely looked.
The way in which
whatever gel they had, at whatever point in the playoffs that they had done it, it fell apart there. It was
their off-ball defense and their defense in the paint.
After game two,
and that's with Mitchell Robinson,
right?
It's
hard to believe that. It's hard to believe that quickly was the or could have been the factor, But
he's a good defensive player. He's long. He's quick. When he's hot, he's a good shooter, and he could guard the other team's wing player, whether it's a 2 or a 3, he can guard them, and that's where his value comes in.
Agreed.
I think it was a successful year for the Knicks. They did a lot more than I think a lot of people expected them to. I did not having them beat the Heat. They surprised me by beating Cleveland, but with the exception of the Bucks when they're healthy, Philly and Boston, I think the rest of the East is a step and a half down from those two teams. and we'll see. Miami might be there as well. Miami was in the NBA Finals a couple years ago, so this doesn't surprise me too much.
Right.
But the fact that they lost the first play-in game tells you that this year, I think more than ever, it's about how you're playing right now.
Yeah. True. All right. To wrap up basketball, let's do some predictions. Pete, give us yours first. Who's going to finals?
Man,
The Hartford Whalers.
you know what? I really love the story of the Heat.
I can't hear a thing you're saying.
Yes. All right, hang on.
He said, "I really want to support."
Okay. I'm dealing with mobile data here, so figure not to. I like the Heat.
He likes the Heat.
Story. I like the Heat.
Heat. Okay.
I like to get back to the finals.
All right. And Wes?
Watching the first half of that game one, I would have said, okay, maybe the Lakers have done all that they're going to do. They're not just won't win a game or two, but they might be overmatched. And then the rest of the game happened. So I'm going to stick with the Lakers. I said watch out for them. I agree with what you said before, Harry. We can consider ourselves fortunate to see these two centers facing off against each other. And definitely the Nuggets are deeper. Jokic is a monster. But,
Are you getting any of this?
We can't hear you.
We can't hear me.
You're like you're
Well,
in, out.
Let me rephrase that. We can hear you, but you sound like a robot with Tourette's.
We could probably do better by reading your lips than listening to you talking.
Put an L up if you like the Lakers, or put an N up if you like the Nuggets.
You muted yourself now, so
yeah. All right.
I think he said Lakers. Pete, did you? There you go.
So Lakers and Heat.
Yes, better, much better.
Yeah, Lakers in the Heat. I can't hear you because I had to put it on speakerphone.
All right, Lakers.
The Bluetooth microphone doesn't work too well, and the speakerphone is just not loud enough.
That's right.
It must be.
Gotcha.
Wait a minute.
So, all right, Heat's got the Lakers and the Heat. John, who do you have?
Lakers and the Heat.
I
have the exact opposite. I have the Nuggets and the Celtics. Denver, Boston.
I have Boston, and obviously I'm pulling for the Nuggets. I think I don't want to jinx it. I think the Nuggets are going to the NBA Finals. I think the series could go 6 or 7 though, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Lakers. I do think though that it's finally the Nuggets' time.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's they finally got to a point where they can actually get to where they need to go to. What the way Joker's playing and the rest of the team. I mean, they're just knock on wood for them. But I think I do. I believe it's going to be Denver and Boston, and then we won't make predictions beyond that. We'll see where it is once we get to the championship.
Wouldn't it be something if it was the Lakers and the Heat, two teams that had to
play in to get to
play in?
That would pretty much be apropos, right? For par for the course, if you will, the way everything else is going. I mean, look at the Phillies with the World Series last year. Wild card team.
Yeah, and I mean, it's sort of what we're basically saying is that like regular season doesn't mean very much.
Your regular season positioning doesn't matter.
Maybe
get to the playoffs and you're good to go.
Having said that, you could also have a 1 and a 2 seed.
I think it's gonna be 1 and 2. I mean, I think it's gonna be 1 and 2. I think it's going to be Denver and Boston, and then we'll go from there.
At least I hope one of those you're right on. But look, I will say this: I've enjoyed these playoffs this year a lot. Yeah. I think there's been some great games and some great performances. I mean, Jason Tatum the other night was spectacular, and watching him go off and the implosion of the Philadelphia 76ers. I have to admit, I'm sorry, I enjoyed every moment of it. Every second of it.
I did hear, based on Jason Tatum going off the other night on the Sixers, I did hear that they might be Sixers might be looking to sign Channing Tatum, but
All right,
you do a dance at halftime.
We could have ended strong, but not now.
I had to say it somewhere in there. Anyway,
what's next?
Anyway, that's where I'm going. All right, why don't we knock hot? What?
I was going to say, can you hear me?
I can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Has Jason Tatum, kind of solidified his status, or should he have solidified his status amongst those who say he's not a real superstar with that performance? Because even when he wasn't having a great game, he turned it on and got it done and led his team to victory.
I think it gets him closer if it didn't solidify it. Certainly gets him closer.
Well, he's one of the best players in the game. He's an All NBA starting. He's the best small forward in the game right now.
Right, but there's been this knock because he is not showing up at times.
I get it.
And they go, how do you call him a superstar if he doesn't show up? Well, if you show up for the last 12 minutes and you lead your team to victory, that still counts, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, they have that knock on everybody. They have that knock on Jokic because of what he's done in the playoffs. They have that knock on Embiid. They have that knock on Harden. They had that knock on Tatum. Some people even throw that knock around with LeBron. I mean, but again, if you're there every year and you're not Michael Jordan, where you only played 6 times, then you're going to lose a few. Jason Tatum is a great player. Superstar is. I'd like to reserve that term for the players who have won 3, 4, 5 championships and who have then I'll go with that. Jason Tatum to me, Nikola Jokic, Devin Booker, they're all great players who have not won anything yet, or even really showed up big in the NBA Finals. So Tatum has been there, but I think he's probably going to be there again, but we'll see. What I'm also seeing, though, is I'm seeing some players building upon some of their past, I don't want to say failures, but maybe disappointments in the postseason. And when you have better players around you and your team is healthy and those other support players are playing at the peak of their game, it's easier to be a superstar, right?
Right. Yeah. That is true.
So I think the Celtics are a great team on both sides of the ball. I think they're built for today's NBA. I think at times they can go a little cold from the outside, but most teams can, even the Golden State Warriors, as we just saw. But look, we have 2 teams in the West who do a lot of their scoring in the paint, even though the Nuggets do shoot, a lot of the 3-pointers. The Lakers and the Nuggets, there was a lot of action at the basket. And I also think that when you're looking at the Heat and Boston, they're 2 really good defensive teams who play team basketball, and they're off. Their team defense is bar none. So that's what wins you championships. So I think the 4 best teams in both conferences are 2 in each are playing. The reason why they're there is because they've really both stepped up. All of them have stepped up their defense in the postseason.
Right.
So we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Let's chat about hockey for a minute.
Let's do that.
Oh, Canada. Sorry.
Why are you sorry?
Well, I mean, because again, there will not be a Canadian champion.
Yeah. This is true. Who are you picking? Let's just jump right to. I mean, look, there've been the East. I think is, I don't know. I don't know.
I think Florida is the best team in hockey right now.
I think. Well, that's where I was going. I was like talking about the Panthers, but I'm like the way they just started playing, the way they just turned it on. How can you take it away from them? I mean, they're just it's stupid the way they're playing. And
look, the Dallas beat a good Kraken team.
They did.
A team that was kind of came out of nowhere.
I thought Seattle was
having said that, I think Vegas is better. I think it's going to be Vegas and Florida.
I do too. I think I thought Seattle was going to beat Dallas. I did. And I think they should have, to be honest with you. So yeah, I don't think Vegas is going to lose to Dallas. So yeah, I think it's going to be Florida Vegas. And
I do too. I think
they're both going to be good series. They're going to be good series. I mean, the Carolina Florida series probably will go a little bit further than the Vegas Dallas series, but nobody's sweeping anybody.
I think they might both go 7.
Yeah, it's possible. So
been a lot of game 7s in hockey this year. A lot of game 7s.
There have been. Pete, thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's more than any other sport. I think when it comes playoff time, right? A hot team and or a hot tender between the pipes can take you a long way, and Florida is that team this year. I think they're going to be in the finals. I agree with you guys. I think Vegas is a little bit better than Dallas. So yeah, I think it's going to be the Golden Knights against the Florida Dolphins. Is it?
Yeah. Florida Man-Eaters.
The Florida Weasels.
I think
Florida White Shoes. What is it?
Florida White Shoes. Florida Johnson. Florida Johnson. There you go. Florida Panthers.
Panthers. There we go.
There you
go. Although I think honestly, I think amongst the series remaining, Dallas and Vegas has a better chance of going 7, because I feel like both Florida and Carolina have the ability to just blitz you. And I think either one of these teams could put it away early, although I tend to think it's going to be Florida. But I don't think a sweep, but I could see a 5-game series in the East.
I'm thinking, honestly, a 6-game series in the West with Vegas winning, and a 7-game series in the East with Florida winning. That's what I'm thinking.
Interesting.
That's where I'm going with that.
I don't
call me silly. That's what I'm thinking. So
I don't know.
There you go.
Depends on whether Paul Coffey comes back healthy or not.
Did you say comes somewhere Paul Pot comes back in?
Paul Coffey.
Oh, Paul Coffey, right? Yeah.
Paul Pot never played hockey.
No, he didn't play hockey. Last I checked. So anyway, cool.
It's a Canadian communist sport, you know.
This is right, exactly. All right, cool. Well, we'll keep up on that. Though they're starting soon too, so we'll see how they go. Let's.
And just for what Harry said, it's. I mean, if you're a true diehard fan of some other Canadian team, then you can hate the Maple Leafs. But I think if that's not the case, like, how do you not like the Maple Leafs? And yes, they got one step further, but it's still a disappointment.
Look, to me, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as the Boston Red Sox. I mean, I'm a Yankees fan. I was rooting for Boston when that first time that they finally won a World Series.
Right.
Same thing with Edmonton. I mean, who would imagine an Edmonton-Toronto finals? I mean, that would have been wonderful.
Right. That's the thing. Like, Edmonton, don't you just want to watch those guys play?
Well, and historically, I mean, I think that there was a time when the 2 best front offices in hockey were basically two teams that were in big cities but didn't have any. They were both playing in tin can arenas with some of the best players that have ever played the game, and that's the New York Islanders and the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, for 10 years, those two teams ruled hockey, and actually played each other. The Islanders beat Edmonton and Gretzky, and then Gretzky beat the Islanders, and they handed the torch off. They both had four-peats. Look, there's just a lot of history there, and maybe I'm nostalgic for it because I just remember that Edmonton Oilers logo and watching this team from I didn't know where putting on clinics of what hockey was. And look, yes, the Islanders are from New York, but it's like they may as well not be. They're like they've always been historically been a small market team in a big city, kind of tossed to the side. So yeah, I would love to see Toronto with the history of that. And it would be nice to see Montreal go deep again. But look, things change. And every one of these teams has tons of Czechs and Russians and Canadians playing on them. And so now they're playing in Florida and Carolina. 20 years from now, somebody's going to be reflecting back on the long run of the Anaheim Ducks and the dominance of the, Florida Panthers.
Well, I mean, look at the four teams that are left. Not exactly snowscapes in any of those places.
No, they're highlight.
These are teams that didn't exist before expansion.
These are cities. These are cities that should only have highlight teams.
I mean, the Dallas Stars were the Minnesota North Stars. Vegas is an expansion team. Florida's an expansion team. Carolina was the Hartford, your beloved Hartford Whalers. So
Florida, Carolina, Texas, and Vegas. These are
they're all expansion teams too. Minnesota and Hartford were as well. So there's no original six anywhere near these finals here.
No, and again, none of them are from anywhere where it's particularly cold. I know they had some, freezing in Texas last year and stuff like that, but we know the climate is getting more extreme. But still, these are not your typical cold weather places,
right?
Which everybody grows up playing hockey because every pond is frozen after October 12th.
Right.
Yeah, but for 25 years, people from Boston and Montreal and New York and Vermont have been moving to Phoenix and North Carolina and South Carolina and Florida and Texas. So, with that comes, 2.5 generations now of people who grew up with that, who have passed that on and brought that culture somewhere else. So I get it. It's a bit of an old man kind of, what the hell's hockey doing? But I'll be honest. My heart is not with the NHL the way it once was. It's not really the product on the ice. It's just that I feel like the way in which the NFL distributes talent to these new expansion teams almost gives the expansion teams an advantage. Look at the history of it.
Yeah, you're right.
Look at what the Kraken did this year. Look at what Vegas did.
They shovel a lot of talent that way. They shovel a lot of talent to these teams.
Yeah.
Although, you know what?
It's probably by design too, because they want them to succeed right out of the gate so that they can get the fan base built up as quickly as possible so they can sustain it. I'm sure that's has to be something like that.
Well, yeah, the NHL doesn't want a team to have to be in a new place and just basically, now things have changed from our time to the current time as far as contracts and all that in all sports. But I mean, it used to be really hard. You used to spend 8-10 years as an expansion team.
Oh yeah,
just trying to build up equity and get good. Yeah. So I understand why the NHL is doing it. You're right. It definitely gives them an advantage.
It's great. It's great for a fan base. Look, a lot of these places, number one, a lot of them don't have, a long history of professional sports teams. Or even if they do, if you're bringing hockey there for the first time, the best way to get fans in the seats is to have a winning team.
Sure.
Yeah. Win-win-win.
Exactly. That's
so. Yeah.
Well, the game one of the Eastern Conference Finals starts tomorrow, Florida and Carolina, and then game one of the West, Dallas and Vegas, starts Friday night. So, you know, they're getting going. They're underway. Those conference finals are underway right about the same time as the NBA. So, you know, we'll have a lot more to talk about in the show 2 weeks from now when it comes.
A lot of postseason going on. No reason to watch guys with sticky stuff on their hands. Right now.
That's very true. Very true.
Oh, and by the way, NHL, why don't you take a lesson from the NFL and not have your freaking draft like on the same night as a Game 7 or what? You know, like not right in the middle of the damn playoffs. I mean, silly.
It's
good
stupid.
For the Blackhawks, though. Can't wait for the Blackhawks to be great again.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. All right.
They
were
great not that long ago.
That's true.
I know.
With the sticky stuff comment by Harry, let's
transition to sticky stuff.
Briefly flip into the sticky stuff. All I want to say, other than that, once again, my time machine works. It's 1992 again.
Did they have sticky stuff?
They had
the sticky stuff in '92 is the Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton, wasn't it?
This is very true, right? No, I think it was in '92 it was Jennifer Flowers. It was pre Monica Lewinsky, right? In any event, Slick Willie was doing somebody else, not Monica at that point. But in any event, but again, good for him. Kudos. I mean, well, you know, I won't go there. Anyway,
his choice was.
His choice was.
Poor guy was working so hard. He had to eat pizza and get a blower at the same time.
Exactly. Got to do what you got to do. You know.
I'm not sure Bill Clinton never said she's not my type.
No.
I don't think that was part of it.
Probably not.
No.
Well, I mean, obviously. So, but in any event, I digress. Sorry, Erin. Anyway, we'll leave that alone. All right. Digressing back to baseball. Other than the fact that the Mets are sucking eggs right now, and I don't even want to talk about them. A lot of parity going on not a lot, a little bit of parity going on in baseball right now. But I'll bring up something on the Yankees, but I just want to ask Harry his opinion on the whole Herman thing yesterday. Speaking of sticky stuff, it's my point.
How dumb is Domingo Herman? And how bad of a coach is Aaron Boone?
What the?
I mean, I don't know what he had on his hands, but they said it was the stickiest hand they've ever seen. And this is after he's already been warned. He's on the watch list.
Did they fly Phil Cuzzy in to check and see if it was sticky?
His spin rate didn't even improve. So what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Could this be another case of clean hands and sweat and rosin like Scherzer was? Because Phil Cuzzy said it was the stickiest hands he's ever felt, and that was just sweat and rosin.
Yeah,
but my point in saying that is because his spin rate didn't improve, right? So neither did Scherzer.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but here's one thing I'm going to tell you. It needs to change. My point being in my rant is that as dumb as Domingo Herman is, there's no way he would risk this at this point. There's just no way.
You're right.
I mean, it wasn't like he was trying to hide anything. It's just, there's rituals in baseball that you use. And a rosin bag has been there forever. Shit, pitchers used to grab the rosin bag in the batter's circle as they were running out to the mound sometimes. It's either he was really doing something really stupid, or this is just like your hand is sticky. So maybe we have the technology. Maybe instead of just randomly inspecting these pitchers, maybe we should see when there's a 50% increase in their spin rate, because they do track that, that then you go check their hand.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems ridiculous.
It does seem ridiculous. And I said that when the whole thing went down with Scherzer a few weeks ago. I think you hit the nail on the head. You got to look at the spin rate. If the spin rate starts to change, more than, a couple of percentage points here and there. Right. If it starts to change drastically, like, okay, something's up now, then you go out and you check. And if he's got sticky stuff on his hands, then you give him, you either warn him, you or whatever you do. You decide that. But if his spin rate is not changing, and all the sticky stuff is doing is having him have more control over the ball, that's complete horseshit. And I said it before. As a batter, I want a pitcher throwing a 99-mile-an-hour fastball at me to have control over that fastball. Yeah. You know, I don't want him to have it slip out of his hands and hit me in the face. That's horseshit.
I as much as I question the leadership of the Yankees, I can't imagine that after, you know, Herman was warned about this, and after his past and his injury past, and the fact that he's been pitching fairly well, and your other pitchers are hurt, and you're struggling to keep up with the hottest team in baseball. I just can't imagine that they would risk this. So what are you testing? Do we have to have some sort of kit that where if you dip his finger in this thing, it tests for certain substances? I mean, or is it you just need a dry hand? And if that's the case, then the umpire should go out at the beginning of every inning with some wet wipes and wipe down the pitcher's hand, dry it off, and determine it to be adequate.
Turn around. I got to wipe your ass in case you scratch.
Here's a hot towel. Wash your hands in front of me, like an infant.
Well, the other thing about this is great. So you wash your hands, and then the pitcher goes back out on the mound and sweats and picks up the rosin bag, and then you're right back where you were.
Right.
I mean, it's just.
Meanwhile, guys are putting more shit on the bat. They've got 9 gloves. They're tightening their gloves in between every pitch. I'm just like,
the batters can have all the control over the bat and the grip on the bat that they want. The pitchers have to basically have powder dry hands and a powder baseball that they can throw and kill somebody that's batting.
I think we're overthinking all this.
It's complete horseshit.
You can't use the rosin to help keep your hand dry.
No. You know, it's like you watch old baseball clips. Nolan Ryan pitched 2 days ago. It's the eighth inning. He's down 6-4. He's on pitch 212. Meanwhile, Chris Chambliss is walking up to the plate with nothing on his hands, a bat that looks that probably cracked the inning before, and it was fine. Right. You know, I don't understand why this has become. I just don't understand it.
I
don't want anybody cheating. I don't want anybody cheating.
I don't want anybody cheating either. But 2 words why it's become this. 2 words. Rob Manfred. Right. He's a moron.
It's bad for the game.
It's horrible for the game.
And some if you get caught once, the refs are going to be looking for you. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the Houston Astros, you know, are right now using artificial intelligence to create a second baseman in the basement of the old Astrodome. Yeah.
Right. Well, hey, the Yankees were chirping the other night in Toronto, so you know.
Listen, maybe this is the Yankees saying we're tired of losing, and this is how we're going to cheat.
But here's the thing with the Yankees, okay? They'd be a half game out or in first place in the other 2 divisions in the American League.
Right.
Well, they're 6 games above 500.
They would be.
They were 1 pitch away from winning a series with Tampa Bay.
They're in 4th place.
They're not playing horrible ball.
It's just that the division they're in is that good. They'd be in 25 and 19. They would be in first place in the AL Central. They would be in second place.
The West.
They would be in second place in the West. They would be in second place in the NL East. They would be in first place in the NL Central, and they would be tied for second with the Diamondbacks in the NL West. So they're you know.
Yeah, and then if they had tires instead of feet, then they'd be bicycles.
Right. But
you're chasing a team which is playing historically or perhaps hysterically good.
Right.
And I obviously they're not. I don't think Herman was cheating, and I believe what Judge said. Guys were chirping, and he looked over
Yeah.
there.
Toronto's manager
is
is yelling at Yankee coaches, telling them to shut up, fatso. Toronto and the Yankees, mark my words, if this was 1988, there would have been 3 brawls already, and somebody's head would have been sheared off with a fastball. Toronto has a beef with the Yankees, and that manager is the guy who has it. I don't know why. I don't really understand all the history to it. But those guys, Toronto's not the friendly Canadians you think they are.
Yeah.
No, those teams do not like each other.
No.
There's only one Blue Jays fan that I really like. So.
Well, yeah. All right.
Anyway,
and look, I don't know what's
his
birthday
is in July, but that's besides the point.
I don't know what's going on with the Mets, but
they're in
third, right? I did not see this coming, but it's early. It's early. We're 40 games in. It's early.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A quarter of the season's gone, and your 2 ace pitchers have done what?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're
right. It's still early. There's still a lot of time left, but I don't think no one's hair should be on fire, but this should be of concern.
Yeah,
it is a concern.
I'm concerned. All right. Pete, you know what? We're going to have to. We said we're going to go to a couple of games this year. We got to get to one soon because our presence in the ballpark is going to help. It's going to help.
It's one thing if sometimes you get in those situations where like just the whole team or almost the whole team doesn't seem to be hitting right. Everybody slumps. But now you throw on top of that your 2 aging veteran, but workhorse up to this point pitchers who, even if you thought they weren't going to have the same stuff that they had last year, let's take a version of Verlander who doesn't quite win the Cy Young. We'll take that. He could be, he could have.
I'll take a version of Verlander that comes in 4th for the Cy Young.
Yeah, he can have 8 losses instead of 4, or whatever. But not expecting again. And Verlander, we'll see because he's, still a question mark, but has looked good at times. He was injured, but Scherzer just falling off a cliff. You're not expecting that. So that's going on at the same time that nobody's hitting. And you watch the Mets, and I've watched a couple of games. I watched 5 minutes yesterday, the day before, and I was like, oh, who's up next? What's his average? 227. Oh, who's up next? What's his average?
188.
39. Oh, who's up next? What's his average? 198. I'm like, is no one hitting the ball?
Nobody's hitting the ball.
Nimmo is. Brandon Nimmo is.
Brandon Nimmo's hitting over 300. He's the only one that's hitting the ball.
Alonso is. He's not hitting for average, but he's hitting.
Yeah.
But
they called up Mark Vientos today, and they sent Luis Guillorme down. So I thought they should have sent Tommy Pham down personally, but where's Vientos going to play him? He's going to DH. Is he going to play in the outfield? When he does play when Tommy Pham does play, plays in the outfield. Luis Guillorme.
What? How about you send Vogelback down?
I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. Right, that would have been the thing to do.
I love the guy's big fat guy and all the story behind it. Great, he's hitting like 210.
Right,
he ain't no Vogelback girl. Hey, can the Mets maybe just win a couple games in the next couple days? Just give a brother some help and win a couple games in the next couple days.
That would be nice. Yeah. That would be very nice.
How about win a series?
Yeah, and how about
win a series this month?
And for the Yankees, it's like all of a sudden they can't hit either. It's like Cole is pitching a shutout into the 7th, but they can't hit. They can't score a run.
Yeah, but so is the opposing pitcher. So that's the problem.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. But that's what I just said. And
not
too many words.
Well, we agree. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, looking around the league, Minnesota's still killing it in the Central, in the AL Central. Texas, even with the DeGrom problems, they're still 3 games up on Houston.
Texas and Minnesota are killing it at the same rate the Yankees are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're killing it. Yeah, they're killing it at the same rate, right? A friend of mine was actually in Houston at the game last night, so it was cool. I got to get an update from him. I wouldn't mind seeing a game down there. But
I mean, look, and all of a sudden the Astros are only 3 games out. They've won 3 in a row, and they've been decimated by injuries. So it's like
I know
they're going to be there again.
I know
because they're just that team.
I know. Milwaukee's still got a 1.5 lead over Pittsburgh. Love it. I was just in Pittsburgh on Saturday, just by the stadium. But Pittsburgh's creeping up on Milwaukee. I'm loving to see that.
Pittsburgh's in a slump right now. They've only won 3 out of their last 10 games. So
right, 3 out of 3. Yeah, exactly. But the fact that they're right there.
They were in first place.
Briefly. But they're right there. They're right there.
They're right there. In a horrible division.
In a pretty shitty division, but in any event, I mean, Pittsburgh and Milwaukee are the only 2 over 500 in that entire division. So, but Dodgers holding a 3-game lead over the Diamondbacks in the West.
Dodgers 8-2 in their last 10, and look, the Diamondbacks maybe the surprise of this year so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Could you imagine if the Diamondbacks win the West and the Pirates win the Central? Yeah, I mean, stranger things have happened. Well, no, I can't say stranger. Strange things similar have happened, but
I mean, if you look at all the teams that are in second place right now in every division, you got the Orioles, the Tigers, okay, the Astros, which is surprising for other reasons, the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Diamondbacks. Where were all of those teams last year?
Bottom of the barrel.
The Astros.
Bottom of the barrel. Yep. So, just shows you what a year can do. There you go.
That's right. Let's go Mets.
All right, let's go Mets. Let's do it. All right, switch up to a little football. Not that there's much to talk about, but
can I just say one? No, go ahead.
Say one thing.
Yeah, you could say whatever you want as long as we can hear you.
Go back to baseball.
No, I was just gonna say that there was a story. There was a story the other day about the ushers, and I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You know, the A's are moving to Vegas, and they had a deal, and then there was some question about whether it was going to actually happen, and now apparently they actually are. This is going to be an ugly relationship until that stadium gets built and they move. And a lot of it, I think, is coming from the A's. There was a story about the ushers at athletics games, like hassling fans for where they were sitting. There's 80 people in the stadium.
Sit wherever you want.
And they're
so desperate. They had bring your dog to the game
because they don't have.
Do you know that I'm not making this up? In Oakland, they wanted to fill more seats, so they said you could bring your dog to the game.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to go to an Oakland A's game before the season's up.
So
I wouldn't mind.
Talk about.
I'll meet you. I'll come out to Denver and we'll go together.
Trying to ingratiate yourself at least a little bit before you say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I it's sad. I'm sad about the A's. It's just one of those teams. It just seems like I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it's not a good time to be a sports fan in Oakland. The Warriors are not technically there anymore. They've kind of moved on. The Raiders are gone. The A's are going to be gone. I mean, what are you going to do? Bring a hockey team into Oakland? Come on.
Yeah.
Watch. That'll be next. They'll bring a hockey team to play in the old A's stadium.
If you're in Oakland, you got to move to Vegas. Yeah. You got to move to Vegas so you can see your teams play.
I
know.
What a great city too, and what a great history of just blue collar sports fans, and just gone.
I was searching for something to make sure. I didn't think I heard you mention it. Did you did see where they're going to actually build the stadium in Vegas?
On top of the Rio.
On top of the Rio, right? Yeah. It's actually going to be underneath the football stadium. No. No, it's right on the strip on the old Tropicana hotel site. It's right on the strip. Is going to be the baseball stadium. So
What could go wrong there?
what could go wrong there? Exactly. What could go wrong?
I'm sure there'll be. You walk into a casino, and if you go through the right door, you'll enter a baseball game.
Exactly. You'll be like, what the hell is this? Oh, I have a hot dog though.
Just make sure you're not on the jumbotron with the hooker you just picked up in the lobby.
Yeah, that would be bad. So what happens in Vegas gets broadcast on the MLB network.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. A little football. I just wanted to say this. I want your opinion on this. NBC, Sunday Night Football, NBC to be exact, but NBC came out with their power rankings. For this year for the NFC and the AFC.
Okay.
And they did top 10. I'll read them off. I want your opinion on them. We'll do the NFC first. They have the Eagles at number 1. Whether you agree, disagree, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
All right. They have the 49ers.
They're the best team in the NFC last year, and they improved dramatically over the course of the offseason.
They have the 49ers at number 2.
Yeah, the 49ers may be without a quarterback again at number 2, always.
Right.
We'll see.
They have the Lions at number 3.
Yeah, no.
They have the Cowboys at number 4. They have the Giants at number 5.
Yeah.
All right. The 6 through 10 I'll do quick. Seahawks at 6, Vikings at 7, Packers at 8, Falcons at 9, Saints at 10. I mean, there's only 6 other teams.
I think the Vikings should be a little higher, and this just shows you that the NFC is pretty good at the very top, but drops off dramatically after that.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, the other teams left really are the Panthers, the Bucks,
Yep.
I was going to say the Redskins. I was going to say Commandos, Commanders.
I think Washington's going to be better than Detroit. I do. I think
the Rams, okay. The Rams, the Bears, and what's the other team?
I mean, are the Rams? Are we signing off on the Rams? Are the Rams just like done?
Well, I guess it depends. I guess it depends on Stafford's shoulder, really, when it comes down to it. Yeah, if they have a quarterback, if he's back, then that's a different story.
I thought he would. I thought he was supposed to be back. I thought that was pretty definitive, but I could be wrong.
So who knows?
Yeah.
But you're right though. I mean, you got the Eagles and the 49ers and everybody else. So the fact that they have the Lions at 3 and the Giants at 5 might not really be that far off. I mean, really, I mean, maybe a little bit, but who knows? Let's go to the AFC. Obviously, they got the Chiefs at number 1. The Bengals are 2. The Bills are 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens at 4.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins at 5.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Jets at 6. The Jags at 7. The Chargers at 8. The Steelers at 9. And the Browns at 10.
I think the Steelers and Chargers should be higher. I don't necessarily agree with where the Dolphins are at. Do you think the top 5 up until the Jets is about right?
Mm-hmm. So you would put the Jets above the Dolphins with Rodgers?
I think so. The Dolphins don't impress me. I just don't have a confidence with that team. Yeah.
Gotcha. Very nice.
And I think Pittsburgh and I think San Diego's a better team than the Dolphins. And maybe a better team than the Jets, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Pete, any comments on either of those power rankings? Pete?
I don't think he's there. I think he's converting from telephone Pete to
Radio Pete.
To Radio Pete. I see a ceiling fan and a chair.
Computer Pete. I'm liking the view though. I mean, folks, if you're listening to the audio podcast, there he is.
well, while we're waiting for Pete, I just want to read a couple of football headlines from The Onion.
Please do.
The Jets are impressed by how quickly Aaron Rodgers is complaining about the roster. And Bryce Young calls friends, family to let them know he's completely fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Pete, any comment on those power rankings, or are you still not with us?
No, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah. Listen, I don't know if people are falling hard in love with the Lions, and I think it's a bit premature to do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it's a nice story, and I'm rooting for them, of course.
Mhm.
I'd love to see the Lions do well. But there we go. All right, bring me on.
Bring you on. So we'll have all up. Telephone Pete is gone.
Hoy. Yeah, maybe the Giants are a little bit high, and
Well,
but you know what? I mean, San Francisco, just rank them wherever you want, right? It almost doesn't matter who plays quarterback.
fair enough. Yeah,
I'm looking at the ESPN power rankings, and this is overall, not by division. And they've got Kansas City and Cincinnati 1 and 2 respectively. They got the Eagles at number 3. They got the Bills at 4, the 49ers at 5, the Dolphins at 6, Dallas at 7, Baltimore 8. Okay, Chargers at 9. That sounds right. Here's where I start to things go off the rails. Jacksonville at 10. That's way too high. Seattle at 11. What am I missing with Seattle? Anyway, okay. Seattle
because Geno, everybody's in love with Geno Smith now. He's the best thing since sliced bread. He's the winner of the.
They're going to be the most disappointing team. They're going to be the most disappointing team.
Of course, they
got the Jets. They got the Jets at 12. The Lions at 13. The Vikings at 14. The Steelers at 15. The Patriots at 16, and the New York Giants at 17.
Mm-hmm. So the Giants can be worse than the Patriots. All right, fair enough. With okay. You know what? I'm fine with that. I couldn't care less. Have at it.
There's part of this that makes
history shows that when nobody is picking the Giants to do well, they do well. When everybody's picking the Giants to do well,
they got him in the top 20. I mean, where else do you want him? I mean,
well, it's 17. They're not making the playoffs. So
I think the Giants are better than Seattle.
I do too.
I think they're slightly better than Minnesota.
I think they are too.
I think they're slightly better than New England, but other than that, I don't think they're better than anybody else ahead of them. So
I think they're on more of a level playing field with the Jags than given. I mean, that the Jags at what, 10 or 11?
Yeah.
So they got the Jags.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
I think they're better than the Jags, actually.
Yeah.
So they're 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
Fair enough.
That's about right.
Well, that would make sense. I mean, if you look at the NFC and the NBC's power rankings, they have the Giants 5th out of the NFC. So if you got them at 10, 11, 12, it's almost in line with that if you alternate back and forth between the AFC and NFC. So
right.
But
here's the one thing I think the Eagles have going for them over the Bengals and the Bills and the Chargers and the Dolphins. I think the Eagles are going to roll through the NFC East again. And they got better. I mean, look, the Eagles are a good team. They're a good team, and I hope Joe Burrow finally wins a championship, but it's going to be hard to get past Kansas City again. And I'm not buying this Seattle and Detroit, and they'll be fine, but they're not. Yeah, come on, stop.
I know,
stop.
Yeah, Detroit could end up being a spoiler.
Yeah.
Well, they were last year for Green Bay, so look, they could do it again.
Everything's working in their favor because Aaron Rodgers is out of Green Bay. So the Bears, the Lions, Minnesota, they should all be jumping up and down. But all of a sudden, Detroit's better than Minnesota? No.
I don't know about that.
No. I don't know about that either.
Well, the way they played the last 6 games of the season, they were better than Minnesota.
But I'm not so sure
in that time span. So.
Right. But I'm not so sure that Green Bay is going to drop off the face of the earth either.
I don't know about that either. Yeah. So.
You don't think Green Bay can't beat Chicago? Once split with Chicago, split with Detroit, and split with, I think they can.
I think everybody's going to split with everybody in that division. To be honest with you,
that's what I think.
Yeah. So everybody's going to win the home games.
There's going to be a lot of
going to be 3-3.
parity.
It's going to be 3-3 in that division. Everybody is. Yeah.
They're going to be like the American League Central.
And the
Mediocrity.
one team that wins one away game in the division
Right.
is the one that's going to win the division.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
So, but anyway, all right. Go New York Bay Packers. I like that.
Yeah.
Gotta
They
love
are.
it. Pete, are you changing your shirt, Pete? Are you?
No, this webcam is
I like how
a piece of shit.
Did you hear the my Onion article of my Onion headline of the week regarding your New York Jets?
No, what was it?
The Jets are impressed at how quickly Aaron Rodgers has become disappointed with the roster.
Oh yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
Did you-
I don't know who else they're supposed to bring over. I mean, maybe.
Well, do you see who
His,
offered
his grandma, if she's still alive. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see who offered his services to the Jets? If they want to sign him, he'll be more than happy to come in and play. And he was a wide receiver when he played before he retired, but
Shannon Sharp.
he'll be very willing to play tight end if they need him to. Bring him back in, and he'll catch passes from Aaron Rodgers. Brandon Marshall.
Brandon
Oh, good. Yeah.
I haven't heard about him. Brandon Marshall seems normal now compared to some of these new receivers.
A little bit, right?
Right?
Yeah.
The steady presence of Brandon Marshall.
Not such a bad guy after all.
The solid rooting, grounding.
That's right. The
presence.
solid veteran leadership of Brandon Marshall. Yeah, he's either going to play wide receiver for the Jets, or he's going to become John Morant's life coach.
Yeah, well, he's kind of one or the other. So
yeah, if Plexico Burris isn't available.
Plexico Burris has been John Morant's life coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the problem. So
right. That's right. Yeah. Paulie Gutierrez is going to be John Morant's life coach.
Right. Exactly. This is how you do it the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You don't.
Well, it's better than his current life coach, Plexico Burris.
Right.
That's right.
Exactly.
You don't need a gun if you go to the Bing and you go in the back room.
Exactly. That's all you need.
Yeah.
So, all right. Do we have an Are They For Real this week, Pete?
No, I did not. I mean, no, not really.
I don't
have anything good.
You got one? We could play the music.
Well, we did. Are They For Real? We had great baseball one, and then at least two of the three teams that we were really said, oh yeah, they're for real. They sort of like went on a tank.
Oh, maybe we're the sports or we're the Madden cover.
We're the Madden cover of the Are They For Real?
Sorry to you folks in Pittsburgh, but we said your team was for real.
Yeah, they're still in second place, you know.
No, they're still for real. They're still dipped a little in the standings, but that's fine. Yeah.
They just need some sticky stuff. They'll be fine.
A little sticky stuff, and they're good to go. Right?
I was
just out there on Saturday. Everything's gonna be fine now. So
the only one I was thinking about, and I don't see how you could say they're not for real, would be Florida, in a sense that can they keep it going? Can they continue to play?
I think they are without a doubt for real.
Yeah, they seem to be.
Yeah, you're talking about the Marlins, right?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
The Florida. Yeah.
Florida used to be Florida, now Miami Marlins.
Was the Florida Heat is what he's talking about?
Yeah.
Florida Heat. I have a question though. In this, are there Panthers in Florida?
No, they're not.
Are there Panthers in North Carolina?
No, there's none there either.
I didn't think so.
That there are
in a zoo, maybe.
Yeah. So.
I bet there's
why the
Panthers?
Panthers?
Are there Black Panthers indigenous to Charlotte, North Carolina? That's
or for that or something completely different.
Panthers,
that's Oakland.
That's Oakland, right? Exactly.
Yeah, those Panthers are cool.
Right, exactly.
Did you know? Okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
9 things you didn't know about the Florida Panther.
There's a Florida Panther.
Is it like the Jersey Devil?
It's like a house cat.
It's a guy in a Panther suit. It's the Pink Panther.
Besides being the mascot for dozens of schools across Florida, blah, blah, blah.
School children in 1982 picked the Florida Panther as the state animal.
Fair enough.
From what?
There's only about 200 or so of them
In the wild or in captivity?
in the wild in Florida.
So, interesting.
So they
So
do
there's-
exist.
So
They're
there's just
bigger
a-
and live longer than you might think. So
Interesting.
there you go. So anywhere from 100 to 160 pounds. They can live over 20 years old. There is a Florida Panther National Wildlife Refuge. There you go.
There you go.
So,
And what about Carolina? Does Carolina have any indigenous panthers
I don't think any of them are indigenous. They're probably at one point,
brought there?
brought over, and now there's no natural predators for them.
There's
So
little
that's why there's
migrant-
200 of them left.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they're living in Boca on a golf course, and nobody can get them off.
Right.
Uh,
Speaking of the predators,
Nashville.
Nashville. Yeah, I was just by the arena the other day or
Are there
last week.
predators in Nashville?
Well, there's predators in Nashville. Yeah, they play hockey.
There's predators everywhere, unfortunately.
So,
Yeah.
anything
so
there?
Are we done?
I think we are, but we got to wait on the Carolina
Panther is another term for the Cougar Felis concolor cougar,
Ooh,
but more
there you go.
recently as Puma concolor cougar, the cautious
Not
and
to be
intelligent
Not
Carolina
not to be,
Panther.
right. Not to be confused with the Cougar Chardonnays.
Right. Right.
Cougar Panther, once prevalent in North Carolina, is now considered extinct in the wild.
There's your clip for the week, John.
There's your clip for the way.
The Carolina Panther has been officially declared extinct.
Yes. The Cougar Chardonnays, though, is always out, usually around 4 p.m. on Friday evenings. With the fresh pedicure.
Fresh pedicures, some tight spandex, and
That's right.
And
Happy
on the
hours
prowl.
across. They could be seen throughout happy hours across North America. Cougar Chardonnays.
there you go. Cougar Chardonnays.
All right, so Florida, yes. Carolina, no.
Mhm.
All right.
All right.
Well, there you
Cool.
go.
Well, there you go. Well, there you have it. All right. I think that's it for today. What do you think?
Oh
I
yeah,
think so,
I hope
yeah.
so. Put it. We got to cut this
All
one off at the knees.
There we go. We'll wrap the show up for today on that note. We want to thank everybody for watching. For those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And for those of you who just want to listen to And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Check out all that's going on with the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals in both the NBA and the NHL. Watch the Mets and the Yankees suck wind, and we will talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets.
Let's go, Mets.
Meh.
See,
Bye,
official
everybody.